Hey guys, Ultimate Fishing Addict here. I wanted to take a little time tonight to talk to you guys about a couple of things that there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of myths floating around YouTube and different areas about pro staffs and sponsor positions. Now, I know there's already been a couple of videos put out recently about this, but I wanted to kind of go ahead and give my take on it and my experiences since I've gotten several pro staff positions over the last 6 to 8 months. I want to kind of give you a little bit of an insight on my experiences and what, how I got them and things that worked for me, didn't work for me, and what I think the differences are between the sponsor positions and what people are calling pro staff positions. Number one, as a lot of you know, I'm pro staffed by 7 different companies. Now, over the last about 7 months, I've been able to pick up these pro staff positions, and I want to make it clear right off the bat, none of these are paid sponsor positions. These are all what we will call pro staff positions, and I'll explain that a little bit later once I get into this video a little bit farther. And I'm not going to go into each individual one or the specifics of each one and on what the terms are or anything like that, but they are Ardent, Smart Baits, Glow Pro Lures, Midwest Fishing Club, McCain High Performance Rods, and Recon Fishing. Those are the ones that the pro staff and sponsor positions that I have, and I'm working on one other right now that I'm not going to go into until it's finalized, and I'll let you guys know about it. But well, one of the first things I want to touch on is the fact that I think there's a lot of confusion out there and a lot of misconception on what a pro staff position is versus what a sponsor position is. First of all, let's go into what my opinion of what a sponsor position is and what I've seen from these companies that I've talked to. A sponsor position is usually some form of repayment back to the angler for their services and for the fact that they're promoting that product on a professional level or a semi-professional level. And usually that includes some kind of, money to help them on the tournament circuit. It might be a vehicle, it might be a boat, it could be all of those things, depending on what level of sponsorship it is. Now there's always just tons of different levels. There's no way I could go into all of that in this video. But usually a sponsorship position is some form of payment back to you as an angler to compensate you for promoting the product, wearing the jerseys, wearing the hats, having it on your tow vehicle, having it on your boat, promoting it everywhere you go, promoting it on tournament circuit, or if you have a huge YouTube following, say, if you're up in the John B category, or if you're up in Lumpers TV category, 200, 300,000, Andrew Flair, a lot of these guys have huge YouTube followings. And those are the type of people that most of these companies are looking for any kind of a paid or a highly compensated, I'll call it, sponsors that position. So that's kind of my take on, what kind of an overview of what a sponsorship is. Now then we're going to get to what everybody hears a lot of, and that's pro staff positions. And basically, a pro staff position, from my experience so far in it, in the 7 different companies that I deal with, is, first of all, none of these positions are free. You're not going to sign up for a pro staff position for a very small percentage of companies and get all of your stuff for free. Because a lot of companies, now, a few years ago in the fishing industry, that was kind of the norm, to where a lot of the pro staff positions were also free product and free promotional material, free hats, free shirts, free product, free decals for your boat and trucks and things like this. Well, as the years have went along, a lot of these companies have gotten burnt by the general angling public. And so they've had to pull back their level of pro staff freebies, as I'll call them, that they can give out. To where most of the time now, if you talk to a company about a pro staff position, you're going to find out that you're going to pay some money to be a pro staff for them. That's just all there is to it. That's just bottom line the way it is. A lot of our younger viewers, a lot of my younger viewers, a lot of younger viewers from some other channels are misled or told non-truths about what it really is, and some of these guys are, doing these unboxings. They're showing products that they're getting from these pro staff position places, and they're putting out the misconception that they're getting the stuff for free. Well, they're not. 90% of them are paying for what they're getting. You're paying to play, as the old saying goes. And a pro staff position does not mean you're a pro angler or even you're a semi-pro angler. You can be a fairly small YouTube guy like me. Now I'm approaching 200 subs on my YouTube channel. That's by no means big. Now I have a bigger Instagram following and I got a pretty good Twitter following. But it's by no means a large following. But what these companies have obviously seen in me is they feel like that I'm going to grow into a bigger following on my different social media channels, and that in the end is going to help them. So they've decided to take a chance on me, basically. And it's not that they're taking such a huge chance, because most of them, like I said, I have paid to be on the pro staff and promote their products, which we can just say pro means promotional. And recently, in the last couple of days, Andrew Bibb from Midwest Fishing Club put out a video along these lines, and he said the same thing. Pro mostly means promotional. You are promoting a product for them. You're promoting their baits. You're promoting their tackle accessories. You're promoting their apparel line. You're promoting something for them on your social media. If you're out fishing tournaments, they want you to wear the information on your jersey. They want you to wear their shirts. They want you to wear their hats. If you're just running down to your local pond, your local lake to fish for a Saturday afternoon, they want you to wear the hat. They want you to wear the shirt so people see it. Have it on your truck. Have it on your boat. This is how these companies get basically free advertising. And that's what it boils down to. They're getting a lot of free advertising for having you on their pro staff. Now, usually the perk that you're going to get from these companies, and the level varies anywhere from 20% off of orders to up to 50 or 60% off. I've got one pro staff company that's 60% off of future orders. And The biggest thing about what you got to remember when you're doing these pro staff and you're looking for pro staff positions or you're looking for companies to sign up with, make sure that it's a product that you're going to use or you already use, or it's going to benefit you in some way or another. Because you can go around and sign up for all the pro staff positions you want to, but if it's not a product you enjoy using, you're going to use, that you already use, there's no point in it. Because you can't properly promote a product unless you use it, try it, and test it. And that's what I do a lot of. I spend a lot of my time at local ponds, at my home pond, at my local lake down here. I don't always catch a lot of fish, but I do a lot of product testing and a lot of product helping with product development. That way, you know, if they send me a promotional prototype lure and they say, what do you think of this? Well, I'm going to fish it for 6 weeks, a month, 2 months, all summer, and then at some point they're going to want feedback on it. How did it perform? How did it run in the water? Is there anything you'd change about it? Sometimes you're going to get this kind of input as a pro staff position, and sometimes you're not. You're just getting basically a discount off of future products. Some companies want input. Some of these companies want you to help with product development too. They also might want you to work trade shows. That's, you know, if there's a trade show in your area, if it's within a reasonable driving distance, these companies are usually going to expect you to be there if you sign up for these pro staff positions. If they have, say, ICAST, which is a big thing every year, most of you have heard about it, a lot of these companies will ask you to come to ICAST. Now, this is a lot of times the bigger companies who set up at ICAST, obviously. They may fly you down there, they may put you up in a hotel, they may ask you to split part of the cost. It could be at a little different level is what I'm trying to make everybody understand. It's not just a one standard across the board, everybody's getting a certain discount or a certain level of perks from these companies. It's every individual company is different. And every individual company has a level that they have set in their marketing, certain amount of dollars to spend on discounts for promotional staff or pro staff. And so, you know, like I said, one company I get 60%. The lowest one I get is 30%. I won't do it for any less than 30%. And it has to be a product that I already use, that I'm needing to replace in the future, or like if it's a rod company, you know, if it's a high performance, you know, custom made rod company, those rods can be pretty expensive. Now, if I'm going to promote their product, I want a pretty hefty discount for doing it. And that's all there is to it. I'm not going to do it for any less than 40 or 50%. Same way with reels. You know, reels can run pretty expensive. And so, like for example, I have Ardent as my reel company. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the discount is because I'm not able to do that. But I'm not going to do it for any less than a hefty discount off of these reels to use these reels every single day, you know, day in, day out, pretty much exclusively sign a contract saying that I'll use Ardent reels for my main reel company and reel supplier. And if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to get a pretty hefty discount for doing it. Because if I'm going to lock myself into something, and, you know, you can always back out, of course. You can always resign. You can most of these contracts run year by year. You can always do it for 1 year, get out if you don't like the company, you don't like the way they work, you don't like the way the product performs. You can always get out of it. You're never locked into this for good. But the main thing to remember is make sure it's something that you're going to use, and you're going to use pretty regular, and pretty well, that you know when you sign up with this company that it's not something you're just getting to say, well, I'm on a pro staff. If that's the way you're doing it, then don't do it, basically. If you're just wanting to, you know, run around and tell everybody, well, I'm on a pro staff, well, that's nonsense. Don't do it for that reason. Now, like, you know, like I said, I spend a lot of my time, you know, I don't get to do just a lot of pleasure fishing a lot of times, because I spend a lot of time fishing people's products, using people's reels, using people's rods, wearing a certain apparel, using a certain fish attractant, different things like this. I do a lot of that for these companies so that I can put out YouTube videos, that I can put it on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, and let everybody know, hey, I like this product, I use it, here's where you can go get it, here's what it, you know, here's what it does, here's how it performs. This is advertising dollars for these companies. That way they get, if they can sign up several pro staff positions throughout the country, they get a lot of advertising in a lot of different regions of, say, the United States or Canada. And so, I mean, this is kind of a breakdown for you guys. I mean, I didn't want to try to make this too long, because, I mean, this is one of them subjects you can go on and on and on and on about. And it really can get just out of hand of how much information can be put out there about it. But I'm going to kind of recap what I've kind of went over, so that I didn't, in case I was just kind of jumping around. I hoped I wasn't. It kind of gives you a recap. So we're going to recap, you know, what sponsorships. Sponsorships are usually paid, some kind of paid position or a pretty large reimbursement system, which, like I said, could be boat, trucks, it could be lures, it could be rods, reels, shoes, stuff you wear. It could be just tons of things that you can get for free from these companies under a sponsorship position, and usually it's free. And once you get to a certain level on YouTube, once you get to a certain level on your social media, once you get to a certain level in tournament fishing, these companies will seek you out. You don't have to just go out and beat the bushes, as the old saying is, to find them. They'll find you. And that's one area that I need to stop here a minute and go touch on before I get to my recap, is how to go find these companies. And there's a lot of different ways to go find these companies. I mean, you can do the old cold call. You can pick up the phone and start calling people. You can start blindly mailing out resumes. Now, I wouldn't recommend either one of those, because that's not the best way to do it, because there's a certain person in each company that handles pro staff or sponsorship positions. And if you go blindly sending out resumes, you go blindly making phone calls, you're 9 times out of 10 not going to get hooked up with the right person. And if your resume comes into a company and it goes to the wrong person's desk, 9 times out of 10 you're never going to get a call back, you're never even going to get looked at, because the right person didn't see it. So you've got to make sure before you start making contacts that you're contacting the right person, either through somebody else that knows who to contact. There's a lot of word of mouth in this industry, obviously. It's just like anything else. If so-and-so says, well, I know who to call, then, you know, that's a good person to start with. The other way to do it is, there's probably more than one of these services out there. The one that I know of, that I personally have used for all but 2 of my pro staff positions, is nationalprostaff.com. It's a service that hooks you up with the right people within these companies. They will send your resume to the right person so that you can get an answer one way or another. Whether this company's interested in you or not, they'll usually give you an answer one way or another. But National Pro Staff makes sure that you have got your resume in front of the proper person that's going to be able to accept or reject you, basically. And National Pro Staff also has a very nice resume building forms on their website. Once you set up a profile and you create an online profile with National Pro Staff, then you can go in there and start filling out your resume and your bio sheet, basically, that says who you are, what you do on a daily basis as far as fishing goes, You know, what can you do to benefit this company? That's what they want to know about. They want to know about your social media. They want to know about how many tournaments you fish. They want to know how many blogs you write on. Are you an outdoor writer? Are you an outdoor photographer? These are the kind of things that National Pro Staff has on this resume that you fill in then. And once you fill it out, then you can just submit it each time that you find a company that you would like to get hooked up with. The National Pro Staff, once you create a profile, they will notify you when new Pro Staff opportunities come up. You'll get an email, you'll get a notification on your National Pro Staff page, and it'll say, hey, you know, Lucky Strike Lures is looking for Pro Staff, you know, send them an application, and you've already got that completed on there. And all you do is go in there and maybe edit it a little bit. If you add some things to it, if you've accomplished some things in the last few months or whatever, you go in there and you edit it a little bit and you fire it off to them. Now, to set up a profile on National Pro Staff, it's free. But I'm going to let everybody know right up front that to send out resumes to these companies through National Pro Staff is not free. National Pro Staff has to get paid somehow. So you're going to pay anywhere from $16 to $20 per application that you submit to these companies through National Pro Staff to pay for their administrative. You know, they got to pay their help, and there again, you're paying to play. So it's free to set up a profile, free to fill out a resume, free to set up a bio, free to post pictures, free to go on there and chat with people and follow people on there. But it's not free to submit applications. There's been some confusion about that recently with a couple of people that have contacted me about National Pro Staff. You will pay per application to submit it to these companies. These companies run campaigns for, say, 3 months at a time. They'll accept applications for that length of time. Then it may take them another couple of months to get back with you. I've got 2 companies through National Pro Staff that are over 3 months, and I'm still waiting to hear back from. I heard from one company within 2 days. I heard from another company within 10 days. It all varies by company and how fast or how long their campaigns are to find people to add to Pro Staff, and how fast or how long it's going to take them to get back with you to give you an answer after you've paid your application fee through to National Pro Staff, and National Pro Staff then forward your application onto that company. So that's kind of one place that I know of that's a good place to go through if you're really just starting out, you don't have a lot of contacts. Go sign up on nationalprostaff.com, get started on there and work that site as hard as you can, because they have a lot of resources on there. Obviously, another way is if you know people in the industry. Say you know somebody that owns a tackle store, or you know somebody that owns a lure company. By all means, approach that person and say, hey, I'd like to be Pro Staff. Are you accepting Pro Staff applications? I'll do this, 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 and this for you for a discount off of future products, like I was talking about earlier. And that's another way. You know, obviously word of mouth, knowing people, making contacts. That's why it's important to stay active on social media sites within the fishing industry, because you make a lot of contacts, you make a lot of friends, and people know people that you may want to get hooked up with in the future. So it's always important to make contacts and network through your social media sites and through your friends in the fishing industry, because they may know somebody that, say they got Pro Staff by somebody that's looking for more people. I had a friend of mine contact me a couple of months ago and say, hey, certain company just Pro Staffed me and they're looking for more people, why don't you sign up or give the guy a call? I said, sure. It's stuff I use. And he plugged the product. He said it was good quality, custom-made lures and jig heads and things. And I said, by all means, I always use that stuff, you know. And I got accepted on that company by word of mouth. So that's obviously another way to do it. So that's kind of a general overview, guys. I'm not going to keep going on and on, because like I said, there's just tons of information about this that can be put out. Maybe I'll try to do a second video in the future and go into a little bit more depth about some of the things that you want to have on your bio, some of the things you want to have on your resume, some of the things that are good resume builders, some of the things you should work towards to build yourself up in the future for bigger companies to look at you, you know, because, you know, a lot of the times the people that are, the companies that are looking for pro staff, they're fairly small companies. But there's nothing saying that getting in on the ground floor of a small company is a bad thing, because it's not. You know, there's the, I don't know how many are familiar with the story of Strike King, but Strike King started out basically in a guy's garage, and the people that were in on the ground floor of it are now, you know, millionaires many times over, and look where Strike King has went. And so it's not bad to get in on the ground floor with small companies that are just starting out. So kind of a quick recap. So you got your sponsor positions, which are usually some form of payment, some form of you know, merchandise reimbursement that's usually free or a paid position. And then you have your pro staff or promotional positions, which is, like I said earlier, it's basically a pay-to-play type thing. You want a pro staff, you want to promote products, you want to promote people's apparel, whatever it is that you promote, you're going to pay some way or another to do that, whether it's paying for your pro staff package up front and then you get a pretty good discount, which I've had to do on all but one. I did get my pro staff package free from one company, and then I get a discount in the future. Most every one I've had to pay for my pro staff packages, which, like I said, it's stuff I'm going to use anyway. I would have bought it anyway, so no big deal. And I get to try a lot of stuff that I wouldn't go to the store and necessarily pick up because I'm not familiar with it. And that way these companies send out their latest products to you. They send out prototypes. They'll at times send out free products too. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get free products through these promotional opportunities. I already have from one company. So the biggest thing is, remember guys, is don't go out there just signing up for pro staff positions just to be doing it to say, well, I'm on somebody's pro staff, because that's not going to benefit you, it's not going to benefit the company, you're not going to have a good relationship, and it's not going to be a lasting relationship. You want it to be products you're going to use, products you're going to use regularly throughout the fishing season, products that are going to benefit you, even though the company's getting benefit by you promoting it, wearing it, showing it off, whatever you do to give them exposure, they're getting a benefit from it too. And you want to make sure you're getting something out of it too. Don't just run around and say, well, I'm pro staff for this company, that company, well, that doesn't mean anything, because if you're not getting something out of it, it's not worth nothing. And that's the whole point of doing it. And like I said, I went after two companies that I already used their products anyway, and I loved their products, and now I'm pro staff for them, and I get a pretty hefty discount off of them. So, like I said, guys, there's a lot to this, and I could go on and on. A couple other people, like I said, have put out videos recently about this, and they've done a good job explaining it, and they've done I'm sure a better job than I have, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys my insight on it, kind of what experiences I've had so far, and maybe it'll clear up some questions, maybe it'll clear up some of the misconceptions that pro staff is just people handing out products and you're running around going, woohoo, I got a bunch of free product. Well, it's not the way it is, and I wanted to make sure that I basically got my word in on it, because I know I've worked pretty hard over the last 6-7 months to pick up these pro staff positions, and after 7 different ones, I think I've got a pretty good idea of what we're doing, what they're doing, and what the industry is kind of doing with these pro staff and sponsorship positions. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this wasn't too boring and too long, but this is Ultimate Fishing Addict signing off, and I'll catch you guys next time.